F1 is going to Monaco this week and everyone's talking about a new rule that says teams have to stop in the pits 2 times. Also, the weather might cause some problems during the race weekend. So, on a track where how fast you go on Saturday really matters, what should we expect from the Monaco Grand Prix, and which team has the best chance to beat everyone else? There's no doubt about it. The next race in Monaco is going to have lots of smart battles between the clever people who make decisions from the side of the track. And that's mainly because of this new rule that says you have to stop 2 times that everyone voted for this year. For those of you who are still wondering why this rule was made, it's pretty simple. Last year when they had to stop the race with a red flag, all the drivers got a free pit stop and all they had to do was take care of their tires until the race was over. And if we're talking about any other racetrack out there, you'd say that's impossible. But in Monaco, the tires don't really wear out much at all, which is why the people in charge had to do something about the pit stops. Also, because this track is so challenging, a safety car or a red flag will almost definitely happen. So now, the teams have to go to the pit stop at least 2 times and use at least 3 different kinds of tires, either dry or wet ones. If a driver doesn't use the special rain tires during the race, they must at least use 2 different regular tire types, and one of them has to be from the group of hard or medium tires that they're required to use, unless the race gets stopped, and can't be started again for some reason. If drivers don't follow these rules, they'll get kicked out of the race results, if that happens. Drivers who didn't use at least 2 different types of dry weather tires during the race, or who didn't use at least 3 sets of tires of any kind during the race, will get 30 seconds added to their time as punishment. And at the end of this rule, we have to mention that drivers who used only 1 set of tires during the whole race will get another 30 seconds added to their time. So, it's not really about limiting what teams can do strategy-wise, but it's all about making them stop in the pits at least 2 times. And the reason behind it makes a lot of sense. The race needs to be exciting to watch, and the teams need to work really hard to win, not just hope to get lucky when there's a safety car or red flag. If you found my explanation a bit confusing, I'll try to walk you through it a little better with a real example. So, a driver can go to the pit stop as early as the first lap, then again on the second lap and drive the remaining 76 laps until the race ends. On the other hand, they could also stop on the 76th and 77th lap of the race as well. The people in charge aren't telling the teams exactly when they should come in for new tires. The track has had some changes made to how it's set up, but with the cars becoming too big for this type of track, the only trick left to make Monaco Grand Prix more exciting is this new strategy rule that the people in charge worked out. After all, last year we saw something happen for the first time ever in Monaco Grand Prix history. The top 10 drivers finished in exactly the same spots as they started. The lap chart showed no change of position among the top 10 drivers, not even for a little bit during the entire race, and it hurt how popular the race was by a lot. Many people started calling it just a fancy show, saying that it's only here so that rich people can show off about their own personal stuff. So, the change in the rules and the new required pit stop rule are definitely going to make things more exciting. The track overall has the highest level of grip you can get, labeled at 5, but the road surface grip is pretty low and it's labeled at 2. The lowest score is given to how much the road surface wears down the tires and the sideways forces that affect tire wear, 1 out of 5, which is pretty normal for the slowest track on the schedule. But what's really important to add is that how the track gets better during the weekend is rated at the highest score of 5. What this means is that qualifying laps can get up to a second faster compared to the one before because more rubber is being put down on the road. The surface and the car starts to feel much better when braking and turning corners, and like I mentioned earlier in the video, it looks like the weather will have huge effects on the qualifying session too. The F1 drivers will very likely see mixed weather conditions in qualifying, since the chances of rain are currently at 55%. That's a strong sign that we might be looking at a mixed type of qualifying, a wet and dry one, which usually ends with chaos and only adds more drama, of course. This can change every day, especially considering where Monaco is located on the map, but it's still a very good thing to know when it comes to a race that's so much about strategy and so important to win from the pit wall. When it comes to qualifying, Ferrari knows better than anyone else that this might be their chance to make up for past mistakes. As said by Fred Vasseur, the French team boss was sure that this race needs to be perfect in every single corner and every single braking spot, because if there's one mistake that Ferrari has made in the first part of the season, it's qualifying. Over a full race distance, their car has shown a lot of good signs, but when it comes to that one fast lap performance, the team has let us down many times. According to Vasseur, this is something they're still working on when talking about what to expect before Monaco, a track where the team plans to bring small improvements that are made just for this track. Even when we're doing well in the race, we are still behind McLaren. And what's clear over the last 3 or 4 races is that we have much better speed in the race than in qualifying. It's clear we're trying to get the best out of our car on Saturdays, and the last 2 weekends we didn't have strong speed, but we can't figure out why. For sure, we need to put all of our effort into this. But next weekend in Monaco on Saturday evening, it will almost be over. And that means we have to have much more speed on Saturday. We want to do a better job than we did in Imola on Saturday. Monaco is a different story when it comes to tire care and getting ready. So, we will start fresh to understand the problems and do a much better job in the future. If there's one team that we can call the favorite on the narrow, slow-speed tracks of Monaco, it's definitely McLaren. Their car has shown incredibly amazing performance when it comes to these types of tracks. However, the new technical rule in Imola about cooling the brakes might have affected them more than expected. Obviously, they're still not hurt as much as, for example, Ferrari would have wanted them to be. But if you look at Verstappen's dominance in one fast lap and we're headed into one of his favorite tracks ever, then we might be seeing yet another amazing performance from the four-time world champion and a FIA McLaren. This race should give you a bit of a worry because you have two drivers at the front, and it's going to be extremely hard to keep everything under control with a two strategy. We've seen what happened last year in Hungary when they were winning easily but managed to mess up their race thanks to the strategy going terribly wrong for PISTRI. It made them look pretty silly in the world of Formula 1, so it'll be very interesting to see what the Orange team has prepared for us here in Monaco. A very cool part from their side is that the Orange team will run a special paint job or the Riviera-inspired version of it as they want to honor McLaren's famous old race car. It was the one in which the founder Bruce McLaren won the team's first race at the 1968 Belgian Grand Prix, as well as being the car that first showed their now legendary orange paint job. From the start, we expect to have a strong battle between Verstappen and both McLaren drivers. What's interesting to see is that the four-time world champion will very likely put on an amazing show and be helped by his team's strategy, considering the only goal they have is the Drivers' Championship right now. The same cannot be said for McLaren. So, in general, if something crazy doesn't happen during the qualifying session, the top three from pretty much every other track this season so far are going to fight at the narrow streets in Monaco. With all of this in mind, what do you think about what to expect before the Monaco Grand Prix? And more importantly, is there a situation where you see an underdog winning the race? Let us know in the comments below, and once you doth it, make sure to click on the video that's showing up on your screen right now.